Hi there, my name is Kira, and today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet what I've been calling the Stitchmas Stealer. I think he just came out absolutely adorable, and this pattern is completely no-sew, so it works up really quickly. If you're a beginner, check out the videos I have linked below with tutorials for a magic ring and some of the other basic stitches that I'll be using in this pattern. Let's go ahead and get started. For supplies, you'll need a pair of scissors, a 5mm crochet hook, a stitch marker and an embroidery needle, 20mm safety eyes, and some polyfill stuffing. For yarn today, I'll be using Premier Parfait Chunky in the color Key Lime, Premier Parfait Chunky in the color White, and a scrap piece of medium weight black yarn. I've already made my little wrench body, and I'm gonna go ahead and send you over to another video to make this body. I use this body for a lot of my patterns, and so I find it easier to just have recorded that once. Like you watch that video, I'll have you come back to this one and I'll show you how to make his head and all the little details. So I made my body using this like lime green yarn, and you'll see in that other video I add like toes on there and I do the bottoms of the feet in different colors. You definitely could do that, but for this pattern, I decided just to do a plain lime green body. I'll have the body tutorial linked in the description. And like I said, you're just gonna wanna make sure that you're using like a green colored yarn rather than what I'm doing in the video. And then once you finish making the body, you can come back to this video here and I'll show you how to make the head and add all the little details onto the Grinch. Another thing I wanted to mention is if you remember when you are finishing up your body, don't tie off the yarn. I think in the body tutorial, I'll tell you to tie off the yarn. But if you remember, try not to tie off the yarn. If you do, it's totally okay. So yeah, I will see you back here in just a second once you have that finished. Okay, so now that you have the body all finished, we're gonna go ahead and get started working on the head. And since this is a no-sew pattern, we're gonna jump right in to the head from the body. So this is why I mentioned to not tie off your yarn, if you can remember to do that. If you did tie off your yarn, it's no big deal at all. Just make a slip knot on your hook with this green yarn and then you can start the round just like normal. For the next round, I'm just gonna start by making 12 increase stitches. For the next round, I'm gonna do one single crochet and then an increase stitch and repeat that 12 times to go all the way around. So one single crochet and then an increase stitch. And then I'm just gonna repeat that all the way around 11 more times. For the next round, I'm gonna do 5 single crochet and then an increase stitch and repeat that 6 times to go all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single crochet and then an increase stitch. And then I'm gonna do that 5 more times. Okay, and then the next 3 rounds, it's going to be 3 rounds of 42 single crochet a round. So I'm going to go ahead and do these 3 rounds off camera for time's sake. But again, you're just going to do 3 rounds of 42 single crochet a round. Okay, so I just finished my 3 rounds of 42 single crochet a round. And for the next round, we're going to start decreasing a little bit. So I'm going to do 5 single crochet and then a decrease stitch and repeat that 6 times to go all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochet and then a decrease stitch. And then I'm going to do that 5 more times. For the next round, I'm going to do 4 single crochet and then a decrease stitch and repeat that 6 times to go all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then a decrease stitch. And then I'm going to do that 5 more times. For the next round, I'm going to do 3 single crochet and then a decrease stitch and repeat that 6 times to go all the way around. So 1, 2, and 3 single crochet and then a decrease stitch. And then I'm going to do that 5 more times. Okay, and then for the next 3 rounds, I'm going to do 3 rounds of 24 single crochet a round. So I'm going to go ahead and do these 3 rounds off camera for time's sake. But again, you just want to do 3 rounds of 24 single crochet a round. And then I'll be back to show you what to do next. Okay, so I just finished my 3 rounds of 24 single crochet a round. And for the next round, we are going to do 2 single crochet and then a decrease stitch 6 times to go all the way around. So 1 and 2 single crochet and then a decrease stitch. And then I'm just going to do that 5 more times. And then now is a good time to go ahead and start stuffing and adding those safety eyes. I do like to add stuffing before I do my safety eyes. I know not everybody does, so feel free to put your eyes in before you stuff if that's easier for you, but I'm going to go ahead and add some stuffing into the head. Okay, and then for my eyes, I don't know if you can kind of see here how this part is pretty wide. So this is gonna be like the cheeks and the nose and the mouth area right here. So I wanna put my eyes just right above that little bump that comes out here, like right where it starts to get small. So I have my eyes in between rounds 27 and 28, and they're about 5 visible stitches apart. And once you're happy with the placement of your eyes, do make sure that they're nice and centered with your body. But once you're happy with the placement of your eyes, you can go ahead and just pop the backings on them. And I know they look kind of far apart. We're gonna do quite a bit of face shaping, so it's important to leave a pretty big space in between them. For the next round, I'm gonna do 1 single crochet and then a decrease stitch and repeat that 6 times to go all the way around. So 1 single crochet and then a decrease. And then I'm gonna do that 5 more times. And you can go ahead and add some more stuffing into the head now, if you'd like. I'm gonna do the next round and then add some more stuffing in. And then for our last round of the head, it's just gonna be 6 decrease stitches. Alright, and then you can go ahead and tie off your yarn. Like I said, I'm going to tuck just a little bit more stuffing into the top of the head. And then I'm just going to thread this little tail onto my embroidery needle so we can close up that gap. With my embroidery needle, I'm just going to kind of thread this back and forth through all of these stitches that we have left on the top. And then once you've gone through all 6 of the stitches, you can just pull this tight to close up that gap. And then I'm just gonna tuck the tail into the head. And cut off the yarn. And then this next step is optional, but I wanna add a little bit of hair on his head. So what I'm gonna do is just make a slip knot on my hook with my green yarn, and I'm gonna go underneath a stitch on the top of the head, probably like right in the center, and then make a slip stitch to secure the yarn. And then to make the hair, I'm just gonna chain I think maybe about 8 stitches. So let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 7 and 8. And then I'm just gonna go into the stitch next to this one on the top of the head and make another slip stitch. So that's gonna like secure this little piece of hair in place. And then I'm gonna do it again. So I'm gonna chain, I think 10 this time, because I want the strand in the middle to be a tiny bit taller. So 1, and then same thing, I'm just gonna go into the next stitch here and make a slip stitch. And then I want to make just one more piece of hair, so I'm just going to chain 8 more. So 1, and then I'm just going to go into the stitch here right next to it and slip stitch to kind of fasten that off. and then go ahead and tie off my yarn. And then the last step would just be to kind of tuck these little ends into the head. Okay, and then we're gonna do a little bit of face shaping to make this look much more like the character you know. Okay, so to shape the face, what I'm gonna do is I had just a long scrap of this green yarn on my embroidery needle, and I'm gonna insert this at the bottom of the chin down here and have it come out just below one of my eyes here. So I just have it kind of going diagonally through here. And I'm gonna pull that through, but make sure to leave a little bit of a tail down here by the chin. And then I'm gonna thread this on top of the face, up underneath one of these little center stitches here. So I just gonna pull that through. Should have a piece of yarn here that's visible. And then we're gonna kind of just mimic this on this side. So I'm gonna have the yarn go back in on the side underneath the eye and have it go back down towards the bottom of the chin, a couple stitches over from where we first inserted it. So if you can see that, my yarn goes in here, and it goes up and over, and then underneath the stitch here, and then over on this side, and back underneath to the chin. And then I'm just gonna tie these two ends together pretty tightly. This is gonna help shape that face and give us kind of like that bubbly nose. And then I'm just gonna tie this in a little knot, and then you can go ahead and then you can go ahead and cut off the yarn and just weave in those ends. And then we're gonna do a little bit more shaping to kind of bring these eyes together a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is just take my yarn and insert it at the top inside corner of my eye, over to the top inside corner of my other eye, and pull that through, but I'm leaving a little tail here. And then I'm gonna go down to the bottom inside corner of the same eye and over to the bottom inside corner of the other eye. And then when I tie these two ends together, it's just gonna help bring those eyes a little bit closer together. And then again, I'm just gonna cut my yarn and go ahead and weave those ends into that. And then next, we're gonna add a little white detail around the outside of the eye. So I'm just gonna take a little scrap piece of white yarn on my embroidery needle, and I'm gonna thread that from kind of somewhere in the back of the head to the top center of my eye. And pull that through, but leave a little tail on this side. And then I'm gonna take this to the bottom center of my eye and have it come out at the same place on the head where we first inserted it. So it's just gonna kind of wrap a little white detail around the outside of the eye. And then you can just tie these two ends together and weave them into the head, and you do want to make sure to repeat this on both eyes. Okay, so kind of the last details here for this guy. He does have quite a bit of black details on his face. So I have a pretty long piece of black medium weight yarn, and I'm just going to thread this onto my embroidery needle. And the first thing we're going to do is give him his nose. So just a couple stitches here below the eyes. I'm just gonna go, it's about 4 stitches wide. I'm gonna thread some yarn through here. And I'm just gonna kind of continuously loop the yarn around these 4 stitches a few times to create that nose. So I ended up looping mine around about 4 times, but do whatever you think looks the best. Okay, so once you're happy with how the nose looks, I'm gonna take my yarn and I'm gonna go a little bit under the nose and insert it into there, and then go straight down to the bottom of the chin. And then I'm gonna go back through that same spot again, just to make a little line there. And then after you've done that, you can kind of push the nose back to where it was. And then we're just gonna make a little smile down here. So to make the smile, I'm gonna come up a little bit to about here. This is about 4 stitches away from this center line that we made. And I'm gonna go back down to that center point where our yarn is already at. And then I'm just gonna do that again on the other side, going the other direction. I'm gonna have it come back out up here by the top of the nose where we first inserted the yarn. And then once you're happy with how the face looks, you can just tie these 2 ends together and weave the ends into the head. And with another scrap piece of black yarn, I'm gonna go insert my yarn at the back of the head here and have it come out right kind of in line with the top of the eye here, just like a stitch over, so we can give him some like almost like eyelashes through. And then I'm just gonna leave a little bit of a tail here, and I'm gonna insert my yarn at the inside corner of this eye and have it come out at the inside corner of my other eye. And you can see when I pull that through, it's just giving like a little, like almost eyelash right there. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. So I'm just gonna come about a stitch over from the kind of top of the eye and insert my yarn, and then have it come back out where we very first inserted it over on the other side of the head. And then you can just tie these 2 ends together and weave them into the head. And then the last little detail that we're gonna add on this guy is some eyebrows. So I'm gonna insert my yarn at the top of the head in the back, a little bit out of the way. And I'm gonna have it come out kind of up here above the eye, a couple stitches or a couple rows above the eye. And eyebrows are always really hard for me. That looks about right. So I'm gonna have it go pretty harshly at a diagonal angle into this stitch over here. And then I'm gonna have my needle come out just a couple stitches over so we can make the other eyebrow on the other side. Like that, and then there, and then have my yarn come back out where we initially inserted it. Again, just gonna tie these 2 ends together and weave them into the head. So here he is all finished. I think he looks really, really cute when you add like a little scarf on him. So I'm gonna link the tutorial for that down below if you wanna make a scarf or a Santa hat. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you do make him, I would absolutely love to see your photos, and you can tag me on Instagram at Crochet with Kira. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.